Welcome back to another Hardscape video. So far in the fish room we've done the 125 South American cichlid tank, then we did the planter tank with angels, tetra, that kind of thing, and today we're going to be working on this tank. This was just a temporary holding tank for some of the spare fish that I've currently got, like the gourami, a angelfish, peacock gudgeon, a keel cichlid and a few others, but today we are going to switch it out by moving the water and the fish into this currently free 40-gallon breeder that my Shipwreck Cove aquascape was in for a little while. Then we'll be scaping the 55, adding the fish and some new ones. So without further ado, let's get going. So firstly, we're just going to move the water from the 55 to the 40-gallon. Luckily, these two aquariums are really close together, and we're just using a water pump just to transfer the water, similar to how I pretty much do water changes nowadays as well. During the draining and filling process, decide to get some of the filtration out of the 55. So firstly I'm going to grab the sponge filter, set that up, then I'll grab the aqua clear, hang on the back, then I'll grab the heater, get everything like that in the tank, and then I'll be catching the fish. And of course, while the water level in the 55 is nice and low, it should make catching the fish even easier than usual. So the water is now up to a pretty good, or down to a pretty good point now in the 55. So we're going to get catching the fish. Obviously, to do that, we need nets. So currently looking for nets and can't find them. I don't know how I can't, but this was actually raw footage, guys. So I'm not even joking here. I had two cameras set up and this was me searching for the nets. Just thought I would include that because I found it pretty funny, but also incredibly stupid. Anyway, eventually we did find the nets and we're just gonna catch the fish again. Same old, simple double net method to catch all these guys. We can throw them in the tank, then we can take out some of the rocks and that kind of thing, and then go from there. So we got all the fish moved, didn't take too long. I also had a pleco to move as well, which are always a little bit tricky. I'm now just going to take out all the rocks and the decorations from this tank, probably the substrate as well, and throw this in the 40-gallon because this 55 is going to probably take a while to scape with what I've got planned. I've also got to go get some scaping supplies from the LFS for this tank, so I imagine it probably won't be complete for another 2, 3, 4 days, depending on when I can get there with my work schedule and stuff. So once we did that, a few days later, we've got the rocks ready, and these are just locally sourced rocks that I've found over time, and I think these will work really well for what I've got planned in the tank. So now, here comes the fun part. Setting up this fish room for me has been so much fun. You know, creating new tanks and new aquascapes and new environments for these fish to live. It really is quite cool. So sadly, after this, I've only got one more tank to do. I wish I did have more, but just for the space in the room, and you know, I want it to feel nice. I don't want to do any more. I'm pretty happy with the with the quality of these tanks and also the quantity. So right now I'm just going to throw some egg crate down. I've used this in quite a lot of my builds recently, especially the 125. Anytime you use some heavy structure, especially rocks, it's just worthwhile to put, you know, either polystyrene or egg crates like I'm using here, just to help distribute the weight over the glass at the bottom of the aquarium. As you can see, I've got a boatload of these for any future builds or any future aquascapes that I might be doing on the 40 gallon, because I've got some plans for that one that hopefully, if all goes to plan, will require a lot of egg crate and planning and that kind of thing. So I decided to add some more. I don't know what this tank's gonna end up like, but I kind of want rocks scattered all throughout, creating different territories and line of sight blocks for the fish that we're going to be keeping in here. After that, I'm just going to play around with the vision of this tank. I kind of want something that looks like tree roots coming from the top of the tank. So today, when I went to the LFS, I got 2 pieces of wood, and this one just really stood out to me. And having the wood something like how I just had it is something that would really look cool in my opinion. So what I did was drill a hole straight through the wood and put a zip tie through it, and then connected this zip tie to the middle brace of the aquarium, just to help keep the wood kind of where I wanted it for the time being. This obviously isn't permanent, and once I glue the wood to some of the rocks that I'm planning on putting in the tank, and maybe even to the back panel of glass, depending on, you know, how it balances and that kind of thing, that zip tie that I've currently got on the brace can come off. But just kind of give me a good target and a good focus to look at the tank and kind of what I wanted from it. But personally right now, this wood is just looking awesome, and I'm really excited to set up this tank and get the rocks in and that kind of thing. So that's pretty much how it's looking right now. I'm now going to start to add some of the rocks just to see which ones might work in certain areas and that kind of thing, and then we'll be adding the sand. So let's crack on with that.